Hi,
Okay.
everyone. Good morning to another Sunday Smile. My name is Ibtihal Badawi. I'm an artist. My art is expressionistic, where I express my feeling into colors and words. Last week, I took a class. It's called Advance in Theta Healing. Theta is one of the wave brains, and it's the state before deep sleep. It's the state of dreams and vision. So now I'm trying to paint in that state, and I'm so excited. And I like to connect people together, and that's why I create Sunday Smile. And today we have a special guest. His name is Tom. His work is amazing. Every time I see his art, I just go, wow, that's surreal. So Tom, without further ado, can you introduce yourself and tell us more about your work and show?
Well, I've been living in a dream state for a long time now, so I find it quite helpful as well.
I can tell. Each one of your painting is like it's have a story of its own.
Well, I have the only job that I ever had was in the long time ago. I was the mascot for the Pittsburgh Pirates. I was the Pirate Parrot mascot, so that's the only job I ever had. Yes.
That's my
fact. Yeah.
That was my dream.
Really?
Yeah.
Hold on a second. I have one little remnant from those days. Hold on.
Okay, wait. I have to tell you my famous Pittsburgh mascot story.
I can hear you.
I was Lolly the clown on the Good Ship Lollipop. That's just
kindred spirits.
Parrot.
So yeah, so I performed at like 700 and some baseball games, and then I traveled to Europe. There was a baseball tournament that I would go to in Holland, and because I can dance pretty well. I am a good dancer, so that's how I got the gig. But these are a couple of the eyeballs left that I have in my costume. So you can see. Yeah. This is when I'm in my dream state right here. But yeah. So I had a studio in the south side of Pittsburgh, and so I kept working, and some artists and actors, they wait on tables to make extra money, and I jumped around in a bird suit. So I did a lot of commercial artwork. I mean, when you are trying to make a living making pictures, you kind of do what you can. So I did a lot of commercial art, meaning doing work for magazines and advertisements, and art directors would send me an article, and I would do an illustration based on the article. So I did a lot of cartoon work. I did a lot of caricature work, realistic stuff. So my work is all over the place. And so it was just all those skills sort of like translate later on. And I think what you had asked me to talk about was the Really Big Faces show, which you're a really big face subject. You're hanging in my studio, 6 feet tall. But when I was a kid, I did mostly pen and ink stuff. I did paint. I just drew all the time. And then I went to college, and I did work for the school newspaper at Penn State, the Daily Collegian. All 4 years I was a designer, and I did work for the football program at Penn State, which is a big deal. And I think at the time they would get 80,000 people to a football game. So if I would do program covers, which was a big thrill for a kid. So I've done a lot of sports related work, but it's just, I know sports, but I do everything, but that's a good client to have, sports. And technology has been a big boom for me and for artists in general, just to get your word out there, get your work out there. Back in the day, if you did artwork and you wanted to get it to a magazine art director or to an art gallery, you'd have to make prints of your work at a Kodak place and wait 2 days, and then you would have to sort them, and then you have to type a letter, put everything in an envelope, ship it, wait 2 days, 3 days, and then call the art director, and they're always busy and pissed off. So you'd have to get through to them, but now you can get your work out in so many ways. It's a godsend. Instagram, Facebook pages, websites, live video, time-lapse video. There's so many ways of trying to get your work out there, so it's nice. But yeah, so my studio's in Etna. It's called 448 Studios. It's a building that houses about 30 or 40 music studios, and I think about 30 art studios. So it's a good situation. I have like a little 2.5-mile commute from my place in Shadyside. So it's a little bit of a, but did you have any questions for me? I mean, you were talking about, originally you wanted me to talk about Big Faces.
Yes, yes. Can you tell everyone what's Big Faces about, what inspires you to do, and how you choose your subject, and what it means to you?
Well, first of all, if I didn't, that's
Hi.
He's actually, well, I digress. Hold on. I'll answer your question in a second, but hold on.
That's his dog. So cute.
This is Lucas when he was a puppy. So he is very much a muse for my work. I did a, whoa, this is live video. Everything's okay? So I did a painting of him in 2013 for the fun of it called A Golden Retriever at the museum, and it shows a golden retriever seated from behind looking at a painting of a tennis ball at an art museum, and it changed my life. My publishers here in Pittsburgh said we're going to print 100 limited edition prints of this eventually, and we would print per order, G-clay prints, and I thought we'd sell like 5 or 6 over a year because they were expensive. They were $500 a piece, but we said we would donate $100 per print to the Animal Rescue League, and we sold out in 5 weeks. It went viral. It got on a couple of Facebook pages and a website, and it was shocking. And so within 3 weeks, we cut a check for $10,000 to the Animal Rescue League, and we made money too. So Lucas has made me money, so I get him the best dog bones. But we've done a whole series of follow-ups, and I think we've raised like $45,000 for a whole series of rescue groups around the country in different
That's amazing.
Pretty cool. And there's a version of him looking at a pink tennis ball, and it raises money for Adagio Health, and they provide free breast cancer screenings for women in financial need. So I think we've sold 50 of the 100, and so we've made $5,500 for them. So it's nice, and that provides a whole bunch of free screenings. So it's great. In any event, so the Really Big Faces started out in December. I knew I was going to have a show at the Spinning Plate Art Gallery, which is an art gallery in my building where I live. It's a rental space art gallery. You can rent it out for, I think, $100 for 2 weeks. And it's a great, beautiful art gallery, and it's a great situation for people to put on their own show. They can do just about anything there related to the arts. So this was in December. I knew I was booked for a March 13th show, so I needed to pick out a theme. So I was honoring the work of Chuck Close. Chuck Close did the giant portraits back in the, started out in the 70s, and he continued on to like 10 years ago or so. So I said, I'm going to do giant portraits of friends. And then I wanted to pick out, I also honored the work of Jackson Pollock. He would take, I mean, he was a regular painter, abstract painter, but then he became famous for putting sticks into paint and flicking them onto canvas. So I have a technique I call my flow technique, where I take a rod and I put it into a gallon of paint, and I hover across a canvas, and the paint flows out of the rod, and you're essentially drawing. And so I can create this circular technique, which I call my loop technique, which I would do with pastels and ink pens. And it's great for illustration work and logo treatments. It's a cool look, so I'm able to go giant with this technique. And then I borrow from the color palette of Warhol in his portrait work a little bit, and some of his design elements I would incorporate. So as I was doing them, I would photograph friends who were visiting at the studio, and they would say, Tom, why do you want to take my picture? I said, because I'm going to make you 6 feet tall. And it started out with a few friends who I thought had cool backstories, but also had good looks. And then I thought, why don't I reach out to people for a little diversity? And I talked to my sister, she's a casting director, and she hooked me up with some actors in the African-American community who are really prominent, and I know them a little bit. so I started reaching out to them and photographing them. And then in February, I reached out to the mayor. I reached out to Bill Peduto, and he said, sure, I'll do it. We're both Penn Staters, so I had a little connection with him. So I photographed him, and once I created his portrait, it kind of took off in a way and gave it a little bit of credibility. And I started reaching out to people, and I said, I want to make your face 6 feet tall. The mayor's doing it, so why don't you? And so I just kind of all through December, January, and February, I was photographing people and creating the work. And the artwork, the paintings weren't going to be for sale. It was just sort of a passion project for me. And I thought eventually I would probably sell them to the subjects, you know, cheap, all the same rates. But in the meantime, I was just going to hold on to them and didn't really think beyond that. It wasn't a money maker. The PR was going to be good. So I think I had around 20 created by the beginning of March. And, but that was when the Virus Palooza was starting to pick up steam. And as we got closer and closer to the date and things were shutting down, it became a race to March 13th. And then I saw where it wasn't going to happen. And I postponed the show, but I was a little bit relieved about that because I wanted more people to do. And I think I photographed you after March 13th, right? I think I did. Yeah. So yes. I created your piece after what would have been the show. And I love it. It came out really cool.
Thank you.
So I think I've done about 6 more completed. I got another date in October, and I have 20 some people booked in. But now I'm reaching out to, and I think I've started another 12 as well. I've reached out to people related to COVID who are affected by COVID in some way, people on the front lines. There's some medical people, an emergency room doctor, a couple of nurses, and they're wearing face shields. There's a paramedic. There's some people in the LGBT community that are involved in it. And now with the movement and the Black Lives Matter movement, kind of making sure I'm reaching out to people maybe related to that in some way. So, but it's all about diversity, and it doesn't have to be someone who's like, cured a disease or something, or the mayors or whatever. There's a postal worker. There's also, I'm talking with a bus driver, with Pat. I'm gonna photograph her. So yeah, it's a wide variety of people. There's some kids. There's a young boy who has epilepsy. He's about 17 years old. And Luke has a great family. He has a brother. He can't talk. He has trouble walking, but they just discovered recently that he's a speed reader, and he's brilliant. And they had no idea because he doesn't really communicate, but now he's communicating a little bit more. And they discovered he loves Aerosmith. He's a rock and roll fan. And so he is in it. His mom is also going to be a big face. I think she's just remarkable. And every day she works with him and her son, and it's just an incredible challenge. So I'm honoring her, and it's kind of honoring all parents with special needs kids in return. So, and it's just a really feel good project for me. I'm meeting all these nice people, and people invariably say, I'm honored that you chose me. And it's like, I'm honored that you accepted it. It's the honor is mutual. So it's become a really, really fun project for me. And so I'm hoping by October to have maybe 50 or 60.
Wow.
And so if you have 50 people, invite 10 friends, you got 500 people, you have a good show. So it's a way of getting a lot of people together. But also, I don't know if it's going to happen. I mean, who knows what life will be like in October. So I am also looking for a larger venue. The Spinning Plate Gallery is too small for this, so I need a bigger boat for the big faces. So I've got a couple spaces that I'm working with, but we'll see. It might have to take place in winter. Who knows what life is going to be like. So hopefully things will be calmed down by late October. But who knows?
Yes, hopefully. I can't wait to see all these paintings and all these people coming together in one place. Yeah. That sounds so amazing.
It's becoming quite a big family of people. So though at the show, when it happens, I'm going to have a printout, a bio of everybody, an informal bio to talk about everybody's different aspects of their lives and their personal lives, whether they like to cook and play basketball, but also whether they're a paramedic and what they dealt with the pandemic. So each one will have a visual story, but also tell their story as well.
That's amazing.
That's the scoop with my big faces. So your
That's
nose
so.
is probably this big, I think. So
That's so amazing. Is this the painting behind you? Is it one of the big faces too?
it is. She's in progress. This is Mara LaRusso. She's
Mm,
she's a friend of mine. She is a physical therapist, so she travels to different nursing homes, and then she goes to people's homes, and so she's very much uh, a healthcare worker, and she has to wear a mask every day, but as well. And by coincidence, she's got two sisters who are has special needs. They both have. I don't. I don't know what it's called. It's not
we have a doctor here in the house, so maybe if you can tell us the description, she can tell you the name.
I mean, they have a little trouble walking. They can talk and they went to school and that they're perfectly fine that way. But they have shoot, what's it called? But they were born 1 year apart, and they both have this condition, and it's they don't know why. It's like maybe they were jostled or something at birth. I don't know. But yeah, so she's been essentially since she's 10 years old, she's been taking care of her little sisters. So she's been a healthcare worker since a young age. So it's a pretty remarkable story. And she has a brother who has a little bit of a learning disability too. So it's kind of a situation where she's just been a noble healthcare worker essentially all her life. And really nice person too. And her parents are both from Italy. She's first generation Italian. So it's a really cool family too. So she's very much in progress. So I have about 25 of the pieces at my studio. They're hanging in my studio or in the hallway, but I have about a half dozen here at home. And so I tinker with them at home. The Spinning Plate apartment building it was supposed to be a work-live space. So it's a pretty good, I have big walls here. So I tinker with her at home. So she's going to be transformed here. Yeah, so she's watching over us, staring. She's looming over. Looks a little scary back there, but she's very nice.
She looked amazing.
We might. I don't think we'll make it into a fundraiser. I think it's going to be strictly just a fun night out. But who knows? There might be. I'm talking with one of the KDKA morning anchors. She beat cancer, and she has, I think, her son, a child, is battling something, and so she's got a really inspirational story. She's also in the media, but she also has a great story, and she'll kind of represent people who have overcome big obstacles. I mean, I get wigged out just going to the dentist and hear these stories of people. There's a woman who had a physical disability as a child, and she had to walk with a cane now, and she's an artist, so she just started making canes, and now she uses it to raise funds and to make money. She's a cane maker, and they're beautiful artistic canes, and it's because this offshoot of her disability, and she's a real inspiration. So she's another one that I'm talking with about doing so.
That's amazing. Like, you never know what comes into your life, and then it become your purpose in life.
Yeah. So I'm like informally ask people, I can't make any promises, but I ask people for nominations to send me nominations in private. And there's a young boy, he just graduated from college. He lives in Highland Park. He lives like 2 miles from me. And an acquaintance of mine told me his story. He just graduated from college, and he's in a wheelchair, and he communicates via a little computer, and he communicates just fine, but he's wheelchair bound, and he's got this great smile, and I'm going to be photographing him sometime soon. So he's going to be in just a really inspirational story with this great family, and they've worked to get handicap access ramps in Highland Park, in the park where they live. And so the city is building ramps for people so they can also have better access to the park. There's some areas where they needed to work on. So it's a great backstory to that. So I'm talking too much.
No, we want to learn more about the big faces, so everyone know what is it about.
It's called Really Big Faces.
Really big faces. It's really big,
Really,
big face.
really. I was talking with a friend of mine who's one of the big faces. He's a writer, and we brainstormed on different projects, and we were trying to come up with some fancy name for it.
We
Yeah.
have a writer here. Melissa is a writer.
Yeah.
So maybe she can help.
Well, it's already decided. It's called Really Big.
Yeah.
But
Melissa, what do you think? Do you have any questions for Tom?
No, I think it's a wonderful name because it is so blatant and just it doesn't get any better than that. It's perfect and it's catchy. But
Yeah.
I do have a question about your art, if I may, because portraiture is not always an easy form. It's hard to capture the essence of a person. And when you were going out and finding all these incredibly special people who have these backstories, what is it to you, if there is anything, that becomes most important when you're showing their face? How do you, what's the most important thing for you in capturing that essence that you're seeing?
I think it would be people's eyes. So I photograph them all, and I try to set up a situation where their eyes just glow. Like if you set somebody up facing a giant window, their eyes are going to reflect that window. If somebody's setting up and it's a bright blue sky, their eyes are going to reflect that blue. You'll see that blue. But I tell them also, I go with the Mona Lisa smile, no teeth, no big grin, people from your eyes. So the focus becomes people's eyes because there's not anything else going on. And I tell them, look right at the camera, and there's something about that. And because when you're in my studio and you're surrounded by them, they never take their eyes off you. It's like, and also you can see me in their eyes, which is kind of cool. If you really take a photograph of somebody, it's high resolution, and you enlarge their eyes to fill up your computer screen, you can see everything in the scene, what they're seeing. You see the windows, and you'll see the person standing in front of them. So it's the eyes that tell. And I'll take some artistic liberties and kind of add a few little sparkles, but generally I go with what I see. And I think right now, with everybody wearing masks, you really know people's eyes and how you can try to smile with your eyes as much as you can, lifting up your eyebrows. And so it becomes just what's happening right here.
But you still can know that, like my kids told me, no one know now if someone smiles or not when they wear a mask. I thought, no, you can tell with the eyes. With the eyes can tell if someone is smiling or not. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, people raise their eyebrows a tad usually when they're smiling.
It's also how you know when someone's not smiling, because it
Like
doesn't
this,
reach their eyes.
This is the creepiest thing ever.
Did you ever see those people who smile like without a mask and you see the smile but it doesn't reach their eyes? And that's when it's kind of weird.
Those are people who are using too much Botox.
Yeah.
So one thing I also do is a kind of a funky exercise in the movie Julie and Julia, the Julia Child movie with Amy Adams. Became a big inspiration for me when I saw it. And like 2012, it came out where she cooked a recipe from The Art of French Cooking every day, and sometimes she had to do two, and then she wrote a blog about it, and it became a big thing. And the New York Times wrote about it, and then 6 years later, Meryl Streep is in a movie because of your blog, which is so. This year I'm doing it again. I do a self-portrait every day. So there's me in the same mask. And it's kind of, and then I write little notes about what I did that day. So it becomes a bit of a diary. Like I'll do my self-portrait today and I'll say I did the Zoom call with you guys. So it's a lot of, and I take some time, I'll exaggerate. A lot of bad hair days immortalized. The eyes. So I'm doing really big faces and a lot of really small faces. So I think I'm at 182 right now for the year.
Wow.
So I've done like 1,100 self-portraits from the 3 years that I've done it. So it's a fun exercise to do. It keeps you exploring different media as an artist. It's like old school sketching. But yeah.
I like that. I'm gonna try to do it. It's nice.
You should
So-
stick for 10 days. Do it a 10-day
10 days. Okay, I'm gonna try today.
colors with it. What do you call your veil? What's the official?
So they call it, I don't know, in my Arabic language, we call it tarha, but here they call it scarf. Tahinat, what do you think? What do they call it? Hijab? Hijab?
Hijab.
Yes, yes.
So very
Hijab.
good. Is your hair long? Is it short? It's a,
It's not that long. I just cut it. Sometimes I cut it and I'm used to it. Like I wrap it in different styles sometimes, but now I'm trying to use it to wrap it like this. I don't stay all day with it. I just, when I go out or when I wear it in front of men, that's all. But I'm used to it. I have different colors. I have a lot of different colors.
when I first saw you, I thought I need to paint her. I need to take cash of that because you look so great.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So guys, do you have more questions for Tom before we start the art exercise? Okay. So do you have papers, Tom? Do you want to join us with the art?
I can join. I have to do a podcast. I have some time. They haven't chimed in yet. I have to do a little podcast thing coming up. But I
Okay.
can do a little art exercise.
It'll take just a couple of minutes. We have 5 minutes for the meeting to finish.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I have 10 minutes. We're good.
Okay. So guys, let's try to take a couple of deep breaths. Try to close our eyes, relax. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's inhale again. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's hold it for a couple of seconds. 1, 2, 3. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's open our eyes. And I want you to draw a weather symbol to reflect your current mood. So let's put a paper, colors, pencil, whatever you have there.
So what are we drawing to reflect our current mood?
A weather symbol.
A
Like
weather.
any weather symbol.
Okay. Okay. Sort of.
Hmm.
So guys, this is what I did. The moon and the sun. Like I'm really into Tai Chi now. So, and I like both. What did you do? We have 1 minute left.
And this is me. I'm just now waking up.
I like it.
A little sleepy, but I'm smiling. You see a little bit of smile?
Nice. So pretty. Thank you guys for joining us today. Send me a picture of your artwork.
I like it.
Thanks. Thanks.
Thanks, guys. Great to see
Thanks,
you.
guys. Have a great Sunday.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.